A woman is seen photographing a spider web. She is a researcher named Mia. She is accompanied by a man named Roy. Mia is pregnant, but that doesn't stop her from continuing to work to discover new spider species. Roy returned to the resting place, then saw Mia's notes, and eventually stole them by taking photos of the notes. At that moment, Mia also returned to the resting place, and she found the spider species she had been looking for, then put it in a jar. However, Roy forcibly snatched it. Mia refused. Mia was shot in the stomach, then Roy left Mia while taking the spider species. After that, someone dressed as a spider came, helping Mia, who was dying. Mia was taken to a cave, then placed on the surface of the water. Later, Mia was bitten by a spider on the chest. And finally, Mia gave birth to a daughter named May, but Mia died. A few years later, May grew up and became a police officer. May hurriedly drove an ambulance with a patient inside. May, along with her colleague Tony, finally arrived at the hospital and managed to save the patient there. Her family was seen expressing gratitude to May and Tony. May returned to her apartment, and she accidentally found and opened her late mother's notes. The notes contained information about all spider species and their abilities. The next day, May and Tony encountered an emergency situation, and they managed to rescue a driver who was almost falling from the bridge. However, May ended up trapped in the car, which eventually fell into the water underwater. May felt like she was trapped in a dimension with memories of the future. After that, May realized that she had emerged from the water. She was rescued by Tony and had been dead for 5 minutes. Later, somewhere, Roy, who once competed for spider species with May's mother, every night he had the same dream, dreaming of 3 masked women threatening him. The next day, May was invited to Tony's wife's party there. May felt something strange about herself. She felt a déjà vu, an event repeated for the second time. Just like when Tony's wife asked May something, and May felt like the words had been said before, and the same balloon popped twice. The next day, May found a burning building where many victims needed help. As May helped a man by pumping his heart, suddenly May's hands were covered in blood. Suddenly, May was startled, and at that moment the blood on May's hand disappeared. Then, when May was called by a man from her team that he would drive the ambulance, May suddenly saw an accident, but May didn't realize that vision. And then an accident happened to the man driving the ambulance. May was shocked and deeply affected by it. Immediately, May helped and pumped the man's heart, and May's hands were covered in blood. Elsewhere, Roy and his team are analyzing Roy's dream about 3 women who always haunt him, and analyzing the real faces of those women. In May's apartment, May, who was about to grab some popcorn, suddenly broke a plate, and then a pigeon died after hitting and cracking May's window glass. However, when May tried to look out the window, the bird disappeared. The crack in the window glass was also gone. Even the popcorn was not taken yet. Turns out it was all a glimpse of the future that May saw. May opened the window and the bird entered her apartment and then flew out again. Now, she thinks she saved the bird from death. One day on a train, May saw another glimpse of the future. A man dressed as a spider tried to rampage there and killed several passengers. The 3 women who were victims were told by May. Although some didn't believe her, May forced them to get off the train and leave. It turned out, Roy, the man dressed as a spider, had targeted those 3 women in Roy's dream. On the way, May informs that their lives are in danger. May will take them to a forest. May confesses that she is a police officer and can see the future, although one of them doesn't believe her. Upon arriving in the forest, May asks them to stay put and not do anything foolish. Meanwhile, May goes to her apartment to find out information about her powers by reading her mother's notebook. The day started to darken and the girls' stomachs were hungry. They walked to find food, then found a place to eat and ate there. Yet previously, they were told to stay put and not do anything strange. However, the girls caught the attention of the men by dancing on the table. May, who had returned and found the girls not there, searched for them and saw a glimpse of the future that the girls were in danger, because Roy came to hunt them. May rushes to find them at the place she saw earlier in the future vision. At that moment, Roy with the spider mask has already arrived first and is about to attack the girls. Fortunately, May came and hit Roy, then left the place. On the way, May scolded them and the girls apologized to May. Upon arriving at May's apartment, they discussed why the masked man kept chasing the girls. May also didn't know the reason. After the previous incident, now the girls realized their lives were in danger and asked May to help them. Not long after that, the girls had fallen asleep. May intended to go to the previous restaurant. There were police lines already. May saw Roy's shadow and May asked Roy why he was targeting the girls. Apparently, Roy targets the girls because they will destroy him in the future. Although the girls currently don't have special abilities in the future, they will have the power to thwart Roy's evil deeds. And after hearing that, May woke up. It turned out to be just a dream, but it felt real to her. In the morning, May trained the girls to perform medical exercises, namely giving first aid by pumping the heartbeat rhythmically in turns. After that, May left the girls at Tony's place, armed only with her mother's notes and some photos. May attempted to trace the research sites her mother had visited. May found several locations that matched the photos. Suddenly, a man who once saved her mother appeared. Let's call him John. It turns out John has been waiting for May's arrival for a long time because he promised May's mother to tell May later what happened to her mother. There, John took May to a cave where May was born. At that moment, May's vision went back to the time when her mother was still alive, and May witnessed her mother's struggle to give birth to her. May asked John how he could do that, so that May could see everything about her mother. Turns out, John didn't do anything. John just explained that it's May's ability. By training her ability, May can change the future. May's ability is indeed very unique in seeing the future, or the past compared to physical abilities like crawling on walls, jumping, or even withstanding impacts. One night at Tony's place, Tony's wife felt she was going into labor. The girls were also there. They rushed to the hospital with Tony driving. At that moment, May returned and found no one at Tony's house. May saw amniotic fluid on the floor, and her ability activated when the future she saw resulted in Tony and the girls being killed. Then May hurried to catch up with them using the ambulance. On the way, the car driven by Tony stopped due to chaos on the streets. At that moment, the masked Spider-Man appeared. At that moment, Roy tried to activate the bomb and throw it at the car driven by May. However, at the right moment, May came from behind, hitting Roy, and the bomb exploded elsewhere. May asked the girls to go with her, while Tony and his wife left the place heading to the hospital. On the way, Roy didn't let them escape and chased them. May asked the girls to follow her orders to activate the defibrillator device and attach it to the car roof, and Roy was thrown off. They arrived at a place where there were many fireworks. They lit up the fireworks and spread them in every corner. As the place started to get chaotic, Roy arrived, however. They ran to avoid Roy and the explosions caused by the chaos in the area. With May's ability, she can predict explosions and falling debris, so they can still be safe. The rescue helicopter arrived, but when it was about to rescue them, it exploded due to the blast directed at it. Then May saw the destruction in an area of a building, sparking an idea to go up and lure Roy away from there. However, at that moment the girls were in danger, and another of May's abilities emerged. She seemed to split herself into a spirit that could help the girls. After that, May had reached a high point, and Roy was also chasing her. May stalled until the moment the building collapsed, causing Roy to be trapped under the debris. Meanwhile, May, who was still above, also fell due to the collapse, but she plunged into the water and drowned. May, unconscious, was rescued by the girls from the water, and they took turns performing CPR to revive her, eventually succeeding in saving May. After that incident, Tony's wife has given birth to a baby. Meanwhile, May is also lying in the hospital with an eye cover, uncertain of what happened to her eyes. Because at the end of the story, the girls wore costumes like superheroes, and May also wore one with sunglasses. The movie ends.